But Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards is a dog. I also want to say, I'm not one of those people who says Anthony Edwards hasn't taken a jump. I think Anthony Edwards has gotten better. It's just this year has been a bit confusing. And this is a team that we're actually not bad. We're the 6th seed. We're actually ahead of the Warriors. We're actually tied with the Mavericks. We're a game behind the Clippers, 3 games behind the Kings, and 5 games behind the Grizzlies. We've been 6-4 in our last 10 games, and we're actually a team that like people aren't giving, I think, credit towards. What are your thoughts about the Timberwolves? I think we're kind of showing we're a decent team, and also give Chris Finch the respect that he deserves. And Anthony Edwards has become a 25-point scorer, basically improved in every stat.
Yeah, I don't really get he didn't take a leap. This man, as Chris says, he's 21. So he's 21. I don't care if this is his 3rd year in the league. He's improved every year. He's 21 years old. This man just recently was able to drink.
So, well, what can I save what I was saying about Anthony Edwards when I said so the jump, I think maybe this is because I'm a Timberwolves fan, and I was expecting Anthony Edwards to go supernova, 30-point score, MVP candidates. Like, maybe I just got super caught up in the hype. Like, don't get me wrong. Anthony Edwards has progressed. He's become a better basketball player. I expect this MVP jump next year now. And the only reason I didn't think the MVP jump happened was the start of the season. There was a lot of discombobulation, and there was an adjustment period to the new team, the new players, the new chemistry. Do you agree with that? The way I was saying, huh?
Yeah.
There was an adjustment period, which I think why Anthony Edwards. Oh, Chris Simmons coming out here. This is crazy. Anthony Edwards is top 10 in defensive win shares, and he's the only guard in the top 10, which means he's the best defensive guard in the league. That's a pretty crazy stat. Do you see Anthony Edwards becoming an MVP candidate next year?
Definitely, yeah. Its points are weird because Anthony Edwards on this list looks like he is, as far as 21-year-old players to average what he's averaging, it looks like he's around 8th or 9th in the NBA. I think people are so caught up in guys like here are the people in front of him: LeBron, KD, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, MJ, McGrady, O'Neal, Robertson, Carmelo, like Devin.
So he's in good company. He's in good
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's in good company. He's putting up Hall of Fame stats.
I think people get too caught up in stats sometimes because Minnesota isn't necessarily, like you were saying, like it took a while actually for them to kind of figure it out. And I don't have much worries about Minnesota this year because we know this is mainly for next year. I do worry about what that offense is going to look like, not defense when Cat comes back. Not too worried. They got some time to figure it out. Regardless, I see Minnesota as like right at 50 wins. Maybe there'll be a few above if they get really hot. Maybe there'll be a few below.
Yeah, I think we all expected this team to be a 50-win team in the regular season, which I think they're on pace right now to be a 50-win team, which is quite possible. They just need to go on a win streak. And like you said, this was a team that it's a next year team, not a right now team. And I think what's interesting is that when you look at this team, it's definitely fun to see what's possible. And obviously when Karl-Anthony Towns comes back, you gotta look at Karl-Anthony Towns and have him come off the bench. Nothing against Karl-Anthony Towns. When he comes back, you got to bring him back slowly and play.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like that's what I meant, not off the bench. Like reintegrate him in the lineup and eventually put him back in the starting lineup.
Yeah, okay.
But you remember how they did with Steph Curry? Steph Curry came off the bench for like the first 2-3 weeks when he came back from injury last year.
Yeah, that's like Tyrese will come back tonight. He'll be on the bench. Chris Middleton might still be on the bench. I know he was last time they played. He came off the bench.
Yeah, no, I just think
win against Golden State last night without Rudy Croissant, without Rudy Baguette. That sounds mean. I love Rudy. I love Goofy Gobert.
Rudy Croissant, Rudy Baguette. Rudy Benoit, Benet or Benets, Benoits. What do we call him? Benets. I don't even know.
Yeah,
Big Nets. Benet, Big Nate.
Well,
You know what I'm talking about? The little pastry
Beignet.
things. Beignet.
Yeah.
Beignet.
But a baguette's like bread, so
I know what a
maybe
fucking baguette is. Okay.
So yeah, Ant's career is looking great, but I thought last night was a great win against the Golden State Warriors, the future champions of this year, and also, if you forgot, the defending champions, right? So it was a very good win.
Bandwagon.
Dude, the Golden State Warriors, I don't think they've won. Dude, the stat was crazy. I don't think it was that they haven't won an OT game since 2017, but it was since 2017 they're like 2-15 in overtime or something. My mind was blown. I cannot believe that's a real statistic.
I need to start listening to the new podcast by Crispy Haynes and Mark Stein called This League Uncut. # This League Uncut. And it's basically, like the third and fourth biggest insiders behind Woj and Shams now teamed up to create their own insider podcast, and it's like I think an iHeartRadio podcast, I believe, or some shit. But today they said they're discussing OG Anunoby, Bones Highland, Dorian Finney-Smith, Matisse Thybulle, Bojan Bogdanovic, Cam Reddish, Will Barton, Jay Crowder, like what they expect.
Yeah, I'm not a reporter. I'm not a journalist, so I don't.
Yeah, I'm a journalist, so like I love listening to that shit. But for me right now, guys, if you're listening to the show, I think we have like 15 people watching right now. Hit that like and subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated. Be a friend and tell a friend. We're live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's 8 to 9 Central time, and I believe that's 7 to 8 West time. And before
I was in France?
I don't fucking know. Figure that one out. But
it'll be, if you're in France, it'll be 2 to 3
p.m. So
yeah.
Chris Simmons asks us, who would we trade Karl-Anthony Towns for? And that's very hard. And the best way to explain it, I'm not going to sit here and give you guys players off the top of my head, but you don't trade Karl-Anthony Towns for one player unless it's a superstar. But there aren't going to very much be superstars available. So you look at Karl-Anthony Towns and you try to split his contract up. You call up a team that has multiple large, like not large, but semi contracts. Like, for example, this wouldn't be the deal, but if you wanted to, let's say if they were to do it this season, you could not trade Karl-Anthony Towns this season, but a team that would be of interest would be you call up like the Orlando Magic and you'd be like, send us Jonathan Isaac, Terrence Ross, Gary Harris, and Cole Anthony. And we'll send you Karl-Anthony Towns. And that way
what was that?
Like Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, Terrence Ross, and Jonathan Isaac. And we'll send you no picks involved, and you send them Karl-Anthony Towns.
Probably the worst trade I've ever heard in my entire
For who? For the T-Wolves?
Yeah.
You're telling the T-Wolves if they got themselves Jonathan Isaac, Terrence Ross, Gary Harris, and Cole Anthony would not be better?
No. No.
Okay, who would you trade Karl-Anthony Towns for?
I like the Trae Young idea a lot. I don't think several things need to come into play for that. But if you're trying to tell me that's going to be the trade for him, I mean, that's a little ridiculous. Yeah.
We got a pivot conversation.